Ah, vas-y, essaye. C'est bon là? On va voir là-bas.
Mọi người lên ở trên còn rất nhiều người cháu mọi người vui lòng ở trên giúp mình một chút. Trên mấy hàng đầu tiên rất là nhiều người cháu.
Super académique. Et ça fait parce qu'elle a eu une longue opération il y a quelques mois. C'était fréquenté en soirée. Et en fait, je fais la soirée, elle m'a invité à son anniversaire ce week-end. Elle est hyper sympa, elle fait du méditation, elle fait du scholarship d'étudiants vietnamiens vers les États-Unis. Elle aide les étudiants vietnamiens et les meilleurs à intégrer les universités là-bas. C'est un truc qui est géré par Félix Lévin. Je ne sais pas qui, je ne vais pas le montrer parce que c'est un mec qui a battu qui est philanthrope, qui a monté une fondation et je ne sais pas comment ça s'appelle, tout ce que je sais c'est qu'elle soit plein de bâtiments à payer. Ça va très bien. Tu vas rester là ou tu vas t'asseoir? J'aurais fait des négos. Non, mais tu vois, je pense que t'es un peu plus simple. Il y a un peu de côté. Je sais pas, c'est pas un ah, merci. Je me demande si on a parlé avec lui, on a fait des souvenirs.
Okay, everyone, are you ready? So, I am the chapter head of Untitled Data Vietnam, and I'm very happy to see this room so busy. That's great. I would like to inform you that we are live streaming, so hello Facebook, hello YouTube. And it's very amazing opportunity to have all of you here. First, I would like to thank you on Credit for giving us this amazing welcome and space and support. Really, the team has been wonderful, so thank you so much for supporting our initiative here in Vietnam. I would like also to say a little thank you to girls in Tech Vietnam. Are you here? Yeah, you're here. Just thank you so much for sharing the event on your Facebook page. That's great to see that other organizations are supporting each other, and we are so happy to be able to see that, okay, we are all in the same boat trying to improve diversity and inclusivity in the tech sector here. So thank you. Okay, so Untitled Data is an organization that wants to support women for them to believe that they can do it if they want to integrate the data industry. And so we started in Singapore, and now we are in more than almost 20 countries. So we are a volunteer-run organization. We organize that chapter that we are here. So in Vietnam, we are a team of 5 volunteers that are in the back. We are always welcoming new volunteers, so if you want to know more about Untitled Data, how you can join us, just come talk to me, and Young, and Dan, and Yen. We are here to answer any of your questions. And you can check our website to understand what are our upcoming events. We are just now recruiting mentors. So if you want to support mentors, mentoring other women, to empower them to make a career change or just to believe in themselves, join the program right now. You can sign up on our website. And so now I'm going to invite Annika, the CEO of Concrete, to welcome us here.
Thank you, Emily. So I think great to see so many people here. We didn't really know how many people would come here, so I think it's a great turnout with so many people here. So I first came in contact with Untitled Data a couple of months back when they had a virtual event, and I was there as one of the panel members and kind of talk about the CEO side of data and why I thought data was important, and especially why I thought data was important for females. So I don't come from an analytical background. I have a finance and business background. I guess that's analytical in itself. And I think one of the key things that I said on the call, always know your numbers. Always know your numbers. And that comes if you're working in analytics or not. Always know your numbers, because that's your number one negotiation point. If you don't know your numbers, it's going to be very difficult to make any results in business. If you're more inclined to know data, if that's what you do, if you're sitting behind an Excel all day long or drilling data, make sure you know business, make sure you know your customer. I just had this actually discussion with one of our risk leaders in another country this morning, and I was saying, remember that you need to know the customer behind the data. You will get a lot of data and you will see a lot of Excels, but know the customer behind your data. So knowing the customer, knowing your data is the key to success. I think it's great to see so many females here. I'm looking forward to this event. I'm not going to talk anything more. I'm so happy to have you all here. And you're welcome back again.
Okay, so now I'm going to call the panel, and we are going to have this amazing discussion on how you should know your numbers and how you can use data to work your way toward leadership. So then, can you come here? I would like to introduce and invite your panelists. Okay, Yang is our co-leader of the chapter, so she's important too.
I think so. Hello everyone, how are you? How is everyone? Okay, good. On a scale of 1 to 10, how awesome are you feeling right now?
Feeling pretty cool.
I'm not really having dinner yet, so how are you feeling?
10.
That is the spirit we're talking about. So again, thank you guys for spending your Thursday afternoon with us. And enough for myself, my name is Zhang. I'm currently co-lead of Untitled Data, and I'm currently working at Coda School, head of product marketing. So today, you know about me already. I would like to introduce you guys to our lovely panelists from the back. Ladies, welcome. Okay, so just quickly checking with all our panelists today. How are you feeling?
Good energy.
Oh, okay.
Feeling great. Me too. Pretty great.
Okay. So at the beginning of every event, we're gonna have a very short introduction about our lovely panelists here. Okay. Did anyone want to start first? Is that working? There is this sound that. Yeah, it's on online.
Hello everyone, my name is Denise. I'm the CEO of Tide, which is a consulting firm specialized in training in corporate. So I help employees to thrive at work through communication that is positive and clear. I can help sales teams to better adapt their sales pitch to their customers and empower sustainability ambassadors in companies to champion their projects. So that's about me. I'm French.
Hello everyone, I'm Wei. I am a business analyst who had to implement the stakeholders' idea into a technical, like a person who translates from the sales or like finance ideas into any technical like coding for making a platform. And I'm very new to this industry. I actually have no background about the IT, but I'm here today. So just to give you some background about my role at the moment.
I'm Tan from Home Credit. So today I want to share you a lot of things related to home and how to do with data. Actually, I do like a digital partnership. So if you want to do with Home Credit, just contact me. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the panelists for the introduction. So as a lot of you already know about the purpose of the event, and I assume that a lot of you are also very interested as well. So the theme of the event today is actually how to become a data-driven woman and then to take the lead. And it's already very great to see like a lot of gentlemen here in the back. Hi. Hi. To also joining the event today as well. So as you see, that is one of the biggest topic in the past 20 years, right? Everything about data. We're talking about the advent of cloud. We're talking about all digitalization of the social interaction that bring a massive amount of data. And in that way, you see a lot of industry have changed massively in the last 10 to 20 years. So with the panelists today, we would like to ask a bit about the sweeping change that you have noticed in your industry when it has come to be. And anybody want to start first? Sure.
So my industry actually hospitality industry. So my talk about data has significant changes my industry so far, especially in the distribution. So previously, like in the past, we only have distribution like through the travel company, through the phone call, emails, or maybe like you have to actually go directly to the hotel to make a reservation. But at the moment, because of the digitalized, the era of the internet, there's a lot of platform like online travel platform that's booming and playing a significant role in the industry. So in terms of the hotels industry, is the distribution is shifting a lot to the OTA industry like travel agent industry. And for the travel agent industry, because it's in an online platform, therefore they can track every single click that you make on their website and turn it into data. And from there, it's become traffic, it's become demand, which previously the traditional hotel couldn't make it. They wouldn't know how to actually make their hotel more visible, how to reach out to the people in the other country. But nowadays, it's became a completely different thing. And for recently, there is a lot of role within the online travel company that in the role, like in the description, job description itself, it's being indicated that you need to know how to use data, you need to manage your market, and know well about like what you're doing using those data. So I think that's the main changes in my industry.
Very interesting. So you're saying about we having before that, right? All the like boutique hotel or hotel that have smaller scale, it's harder for them to actually reach out to the international audience. And with the technology coming in, it's easier for them to reach out, and also you see the increasing number of jobs in the field that actually require the data-related skill.
How about you?
I would like to share about the business case. Like we have the financing product in the market. In the beginning, we try to approach customer out in the market, outside the market. Like we come into some street to meet the customer, and we met just one or two per time. And then we try like this product will be popular in the market, and customer would like to go to somewhere to find it before we come to meet some people on the street. So that's why data like the public social ad or a post account, we are trying to do the marketing that customer, and that customer met in or anywhere they come into the website or they come into any application or somewhere is a public area, you can see the information. So I think like that's where you can have like home provider to the customer very easy that they are public all the information outside and they can catch a big number of customers, not only one or two. So I think that's a quite change from the past that we had tried to apply this product in the market and till now after like 13 years. And so it's good for product and for a service company and for the user as well.
So you see, so as you mentioned, right, like the way of data playing a role and all the data become more accessible to you through all the interaction online and offline. So how do you see the role of data have changed in the way that you make a decision, everyday decision?
I think every day we have to make decision. Maybe we have the people like they just feeling or emotion how to do the decision. But after when we have the data, we make more like confident how to make decision. But just for one example, like I would like to go in to buy one bottle of water, and when I come into internet, I'm trying to looking for the brand. And if I come into that brand, I'm saw that okay, this will have got a lot of evaluation with the poor already. It's a higher than the another one. So of course the decision making will be easier then. So I think that okay, that's a popular brand, and that will be accepted by a lot of people. It's not only me. So that's why the decision will make very easy in 1 second. Yeah, that is one very simple example.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur, I have a very external view on data, on how data is managed, because I happen to be designing at the moment like my own app. But I want to know, I need to know, I will gather data, but I need direction. I need to define the plan and define the reason why I'm gathering all this data. And I think that's a crucial point that actually came out like quite repetitively when I asked to my data literate friends and technical friends, who told me like, yeah, we can do whatever you want, but you need to first define the vision and the objective that you want to achieve here by gathering all this data. So I think that's one of the important parts. And we are in a data-driven world today, and being aware of that is super important. I think as an entrepreneur, and I'm not a technical person, but it's a very genuine.
Already very impressive to do your own app, yeah. How do you do it?
I'm building it with the right people who are giving me advice on the feasibility and the market fit. I have I provide my own experience and my vision on that, on which goal I want to reach, and those people are helping me to define exactly how we can make that happen.
Okay, following on that note, I would love to hear a bit more about you are having your own company, right? You started your own consulting business. So how do you see the role of like knowing data or become data literate in the way that you're making everyday decision as an entrepreneur?
I think we don't have to become data like completely full data literate. We don't have to be fluent in data language. We need to know how it works, why it works that way, but we don't have to be totally fluent in that. I don't think it's essential. And I think that data is the tool. It's like food. Like we all need food, but which food do we need, really, according to our body type, is what matters. I wondered in the audience, how many people of you are data literate? Can you raise your hand?
What is the definition of data literate?
Data literate means that you are technically know about data, you work in data, you know how to gather data and analyze data. So who here is data literate? Okay, so yay! Okay, so majority of you don't know data, right? So I think it's important to know the basic out of it. What is AI, for example? What is data science? And what is data, actually? Data can only be information, or it can be DNA, right?
So I think data could be the information like you reading a book is data, but it's not a structured data. So you gathering the information that you know how to actually structure it into and visualize into something that is feasible, is user friendly. Like for those who doesn't know data, look at it. Like look at the chart, for example. They know how to actually getting the information for negotiation, for example. So that's important. Yeah. Yeah, just there's two types of people here, right? For those who know how to use data, manipulate data, and for those who use who just reading the data. For me, I used to be the one who doesn't know how to actually manipulate data, but it's important that I read the data and I get into the data where it's like how to build a chart based on a very small information, but it needs to be structured information.
Then I think Emily would love to do a bit of example of your everyday work, right? Because when you're working as a business analyst for Chief User, one of the traveling platform, and I assume that amount of data to do with is massive already.
No, it's actually not really.
Okay, my bad.
So there's different types of business analysts in different companies. So there's a few companies that require a lot of data analysis. The other company is like focused on the implementation. So we're actually writing a logic for technical people for the developer to actually building the apps. So at the moment, I'm the one who write down the logic for the developer to writing the apps like coding. But previously, saying like how to use data from like the raw data that the data engineering already collected and structures. From my experience, I actually use it to build the chart, like to see every single hotel in the market, what's the booking lead time of the hotel. So every single time I go to visit the hotel to negotiate for a promotion, it needs to be how many booking that it generates per day. So it's to be like a daily pickup. It's very easy. Like for example, you selling veggie in the market. Like what kind of item of the veggie, the quantity of the veggie, what time the person that buy the veggie, for example, the pricing, and then what is the time the veggie has been sold. So based on those very basic data, you can actually like start to learn, structure it in a very basic like Excel spreadsheet, for example. That's a very basic one. So later on there's more platform, but it's just because of the limitation of the Excel spreadsheet only can hold like 1 million row. Therefore, there's another platform which can handle the big data. But we can start from that very easy example.
Okay, thank you Lynn, for the sharing. That was very interesting. So you see at the first part of this of the panel, right? We're talking about the power of data. So in the last 20 years, we see a sweeping change in the way that data play a role in business. Like more and more interaction is going digital, IT, Thanh has said. And I think one of the points the panel put out is very interesting from Dennis, for example, is that we have a lot of talk about data, right? We have artificial intelligence, we have data science, and a lot of jargon around that. But the one important thing to stay alert is just not about like the technical skill, but also like how you know what you want in the vastness of this data world, and you focus on what you need in order to really empower the business. And also Nguyen, also coming from a very specific background, and she will do a lot of analysis. She's talking about, okay, so we know what we need already. So what next, right? We need to learn how to like take the insight from a massive amount of data we already selected before. We know what we need, but what's next, right? With a chunk of all the data that we have, how we can draw insight from there. And that is where the technical skill coming in. We learn about how to visualize the data, how to put up the question, so we know what is the right question to ask, what question is relevant to the business. So that is the first part of the power of data that we're having today. Everyone still stay awake, yeah? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna have like a quick mini game to make everyone more engaged, interactive. If I can ask the blue, you can help me to flash out Kahoot. Okay, anyone of you know Kahoot? Anyone from your past classroom experience when the teacher calling you and say, can you get into Kahoot please? Okay, doing that again. Okay, so all you need is just log into your phone and go to the Kahoot website and key in those numbers. Okay. Everyone have the Wi-Fi in place already? Or I think it's better to do 4G, yeah? It will be more stable that way. We have someone named Vitamin. Okay, I would love to be that person. Okay, guys, please remember to raise your hand if you have any difficulty getting into Kahoot. Yeah. Okay, wait. Is everyone in already? Okay. So if, to make sure that everyone's in, yeah. So we're gonna have special gift from Home Credit. Give you guys a minute to answer all the questions, yeah. Okay. Okay, everyone's good? Just give me a sign. Yes? Maybe a bit louder. Okay. We all have dinner, yeah? Yes? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 questions. And the one, the top 5 audience will answer the most questions will win. Okay? Special gift that the value is under 1 billion Vietnam dollars. Okay? Okay, we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. This is not a question. Go. Okay, guys, sorry. Okay, there's some technical problem with the question, so. Okay, guys. Can I have a yes, please? Yes? Sorry, can you turn off the music? Okay, sorry, there was some problem with the question, but then I'm gonna ask the question here, and anyone who raised their hand the faster and answer the question right will win. Okay? Ready? And ready? My and friend ready? Okay. The question is, so the CEO of Home Credit Vietnam has stated one statement before about how you should know ... in business decision making. Sorry, I can do my part this. Okay, and okay, 3, 2, 1. Start over. Okay, go please.
I think she said know your numbers. Yes.
This is correct. Yay! Okay, can I have a gift bag for this beautiful tool here? Okay, so the next question we're having now is that is to say one very interesting fact about data, about the skills I think will be of most important in the world that is filled with data. What is it? And this time from 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, come on. We do one, we do again, yeah? So the question, you want to get up here? Okay, sure, sorry, I took it really fast. So the question is, Ms. Dennis June here, she had mentioned about one of the most important skills that one should have, especially as an entrepreneur in this data-driven world. What is it? 3, 2, 1. Yes. Okay. And is it correct? Yes. This is definitely correct. Congratulations. And then give the lovely lady here. Okay. So this is another question that is a little bit tricky. So you have to listen very carefully, yeah? Where does Miss Nguyen currently working right now? You might have a little time to go on Facebook page and check on the event, but we have 3, 2, 1. Okay, can you do it again? Sorry. 3, 2, 1. Yes. Is it correct? All right, thank you so much. Okay, and I can hear the crying call from all the audience saying that I want to give. Can you please give me another question? So I give you another question. So the question is, how many chapters that She Loves Data has? For quick funding promotion. How many chapters that She Loves Data as an organization has around the world? This might be a time to go to She Loves Data after time. Okay, we come to 3, 2, 1.
It's 20?
Close enough, right? Okay. Another guess, but 20 is very close. I mean, if She Data member want to answer, you can give. I mean, okay. Again, anyone? Okay. So She Data is an organization that we have women to empower them to advance to technology and also understand more about data, family promotion, and the number of chapters that we have actually right now is 17. Okay. Can I take one gift from Concrete later? Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for participating. And now moving to the next part for the panelists. Okay, so we talk a lot about like the power of data, right, and how it's playing a role in advancing in the career. But if anyone would like change, raise your hand. You like change? If I can be very honest with myself, I hate change. Yeah, so I'm moving around a lot and I hate it so much. But I guess this is part of life, right? That you have to move around, you have to adapt to new things because one thing is constant and is change, right? So this part we want to talk about challenges that we're facing, also especially as a woman, when it comes to this data-driven work. Okay, so the next question I have for Ms. June. So she has extensive experience being in consulting, leadership coaching, and communication as well. So Mitchell, I think one of the questions I would like to ask is like, what is the, I think one of the challenges, what do you think, what is the challenge that Vietnamese women are facing that maybe hinder them from advancing in the career?
I think Vietnamese women have two challenges. The first one is confidence, self-confidence, confidence in who they are, what are their values, and what that is their goal, also where they want to go to. And the second one is fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, and fear of opening up and to ask for what they want actually and set their expectations and ask for it. And I think that this is not only specific to Vietnamese women, I think it's specific to all women in the world. That yeah, we don't dare to ask for what we are worth. And sometimes the environment at work is not welcoming those expectations. So that's I think the three challenges that we have today.
You were saying about like what is like they don't dare to ask what is worth, right? So what do you mean by that?
By that, I think they don't ask themselves the right questions of who they are, what they stand for, what is their values, and what do they want in the future. That's one of the reasons. And the second one is that they just don't open up to their boss or their managers to ask for what they are worth for.
Okay, that's really interesting. Chị Thanh, so you hear her sharing, right? Like she talked about the woman is not feeling confident enough and not driven enough to actually asking for what she's worth, right? So you have spent, I think, at least 11 years in the consumer finance, advancing the corporate ladder, right? How do you see this sharing resonate with you, your own experience?
Yeah, I think like from my experience, like it takes a lot of time to try to fight with myself first. Because when I come into any challenge, the first question I ask that, can I do it? That's the first one. That's why when I joined beginning in home credit, like I tried is like the sales guys in the market. I try to go around to find the customer outside. And then at that moment, a lot of people, my friends said, why one young lady, you want to go around the market with a high, with the traffic, like very, like it's not good for a lady because they like go in some office to by themselves to sell for their skin, let's say, you see, skin. Okay. This very normal conversation between some lady together, right? And they said that they want to go to the office for easy for the job. They have the nice time in the office more than outside. And they said that because I like it, because I want to go out to learn. Because if I sit in the office, I'm just trying to make some people coming. I'm waiting for the customer coming instead of like follow customer outside. That's why I would like to go out. And luckily, like I have a lot of college at that moment, and almost always a man. Because they go to the market, they want to do it, and they don't want to sit in the office instead of, right? That's why when I was with them, I said, oh, all of them want to go out, all of them want to sit in the office, but I'm quite different. And as that moment, I got a lot of lessons from all my college because they have the skill, how to do it in the market, how to persuade the customer, and how to survive in the market. And that's the first lesson I learned from my college outside. And when I had to change to move to the office, because for some time outside, and you want to change, and then find another change to grow up. And I found the job in the office. At that moment, it's not like I sit in the office for customer facing, but I got another job to do something related to planning. Because I know how customer would want to do, want to apply, or they would like to get from their mind. That's why I come back to the office, try to make some plan to approach them in the bigger number. And at that moment, I think a lot of people are again asking me in the beginning, why did you the way to do something outside, and now do I come back to the office, and why? I said, okay, because it's not time to learn outside. And now I want to apply while learning outside to my career role. That's why I come back to take the job in the office. And of course, at that moment, I think all of the things I learn outside, I can use in my next plan for career path. Because when I know it well, I can have the blood well. And when I apply that one, based on data, how we know that? Because I know the customer need, I know what the customer would like to in the next some months, or maybe they can get, or they would like to serve by the service, by the provider. So at that moment, I think I had to prepare something in advance before they come in and asking. Yeah. So I think it's a lot of change like they decide to do something else, but they have to be positive to think about it. That's good for you for the future. It's not for the current. So that's why I utilize what I learned from out and I apply it. It's not like we are learning and keep it in mind and keep it, but I want to share it and do it and apply it in my job. That's the thing like now like 11 years, it's not short, but it's still sharp in my mind because it's still learning outside. Because everything changes every day. So why we have our product, like corporate product, we have to think how it's serving for next 2 or 3 years, and how it's serving for our customer need. And maybe now we have to think for next 2 years, and no one knows that it's good enough. But based on the data, we know that we are very confident how to make decision to do something new. Yeah, that's from I think it's like we need to pilot, know about the report, know about the data, and then we can make decision how we are going for the next some years in advance. So all thing I pass my time for learning all the time and apply it.
I think there's
something that I feel like strongly resonate with was like the dark skin part, you know. Because I think I'm not sure whether a lot of Vietnamese women can feel resonate with this as well. But growing up as a girl, it's very difficult for me to fit in with this certain like expectation of you have to be like skinny, you have to be like really like light skin, and to be very feminine. But I think I'd like to like, ask you a little bit because you put a very interesting point in. You're saying that a lot of people were asking you in the beginning when you start this like self-guide job, and people are asking you like, why don't you just choose a white collar job when you decide to stay for work, right? So why do you decide like that? Like what drives you?
Because maybe I'm either people with the extrovert one and extrovert. Yeah. That's why if I'm sitting in one office and I do some normal job every day, I feel boring. But if I just meet one or two people or daily, still boring. But that's why I'm trying to meet a lot of people I can. That's why I decided to go out of the market. I know more people and I get more. That's why I made decision like that.
Thank you. And I think we also want to hear sharing from William's mom. She has a very interesting background, so she studied Vietnamese studies, yeah, at the University of Culture, and then she has taken on a lot of different roles in the tourism industry before starting to become a business analyst. I think that's quite a big shift for you, right?
Yeah. It's absolutely a big step for me. But I would like to actually like going back to my childhood time a little bit. Because a lot of people here, I think like there is no one to actually guide you or help you to navigate like what are you going to study, what are you going to become, like what's your career path is like in the future. It's happening a lot in my generation, maybe in your generation too, or the younger people. And I actually studied at the University of Culture, Vietnamese study. And back then I wanted to be a tourist guide. So it's also quite relevant in the tourism industry at the moment. But at the last year in my university, I realized I couldn't be a tourist guide. I'm not strong enough to be a tourist guide. I love travel. I don't want to serve people. I'm not good at that. And it's the education that matters. There's a lot of like the people who has like the company has the connection with the university, and from that they are actually advertising themselves. In this case, a university that belongs to the government that's brought a lot of company that like Vietnamese local company who's teaching us about tourism in Vietnam, like local tourism. So we're not being taught about inbound industry or outbound industry. And we only know about the big guy in the Vietnamese tourism industry. We have no idea who's Expedia or GoDaddy or Vietnam. We have no idea. So when I graduate, I feel like it's too challenging for me to fight against my friends, my classmates, to get a position in those big Vietnamese local company. So I actually applied to a startup company which is doing something very new. That is the wholesale platform to actually distributing the hotel to the travel company like the small air ticket office in Vietnam. So that's when I started my career in a tech company that's building a hotel platform. So I started as a salesperson. But I got to learn a lot about technical skills. And back then I had so many arguments with the technical guys. I was a stakeholder. I'm like, no, this one doesn't make sense until I moved to the next company, where they actually had like a very standard procedures. So every single case like is considered as a bug, a technical bug that need to exceed a certain amount, then they're gonna fix this. So we have like prioritize. And then I guess like I started to like understand a little bit of the technical, and I feel like yeah, I like it, and I got to like learn making some research about technical online platform, get to know like how the system work, how to solve the problem by working around if there's a technical problem. And then moving forward, I was in few majors, quite a new role in my industry as well, where you actually analyzing the whole market and giving the advices for the hotel partner. So before negotiating with the hotel partner and sign a warranty deals, I need to analyzing using the past data, as well as like forecast on what is supposed to be in the future for this hotel if we sign you, because we're going to pay in advance. So that is when it became interesting about data. But because there's so many manual things that I need to work on, so I actually decided to study a little bit in data, like C code in Python. It's not something fancy, just like resolve my work within my role. So it's not like maybe a lot of you here are data analysis, data science. I'm not the one. I'm just trying to resolve my own problem within my work. Yeah, so during 2020, as you all know, the pandemic has came, and my industry has significant impact. So the role at the company where I used to work for has been happening. Can you imagine within 1 year, I had to play 3 different roles in the company? Yeah, and it's very hard. Because I got to learn the computer language just a little bit, the query language also a little bit. So they decided to keep someone who know like different things, like became a specialist, but know how to use data well. And the company where I work for on 2020, they are a traditional tourism company. So they during the COVID-19 time, they migrating the system without any knowledge. So the user has no idea what's going on. How to use new system, how to migrate from A system to B system, and so on. There's a lot of report need to be generated, and that is where I got to use my knowledge about data and influence people in the company and make my managers that became really happy.
I just have a quick question though. I mean, I want to clap in. You've been very interesting parts, and we can see that throughout your career, right? That you encounter a lot of roadblock, and you start to jump over it, right? And you try to pick up a skill along the way in order to do that. So, what kind of mindset, like the Ramas, do you think that as everyone here should adapt when it comes to changes like that?
I think firstly you need to know how to research. In the university, I see a lot of like because I train a lot of interns in my company, not only in Vietnam but in the other country as well. They actually don't really have the skill of doing research on the internet, and it's important if you love to learn. You can absolutely learn yourself. And I actually trying to go to the center, the computers programming center to learn the computer language, but it's way too hard for me. And the way they teach me is not applied to my job, so I need to find a way like doing the research how it should apply to my job. Because if you wanted to learn to be a data scientist, not everyone can be a data scientist. And if there's so many people in the market know how to do data science and data analyst, then the salary gonna be very low, right? So you just be the specialist in your role, and they know how to use data. It's one of the best.
Thank you. So I think this part we have kind of a lot of interesting idea, right? We talk about, so then starting off, we're talking about like all the common problem that she's seeing that a lot of Vietnamese women is facing right now. How about being really confident and being there to ask for what you are worth? Because I think it's a very difficult conversation for everyone, right? Can we really ask for a salary raise? What is the benchmark for that? How do we know what we are worth? I think moving forward to kind of putting a very interesting point, as in like throughout the early part of your career, talking about you prioritizing the part where you have to have a lot of data. You'll be the one who facing the data, getting data from the customer. And then from there, you're moving more backward. So not backward, back office. Do more back office and start to do more planning. And I think there's a lot of conversation about like being a woman, right? Like you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go outside on the field because my skin looks so tan and it's easier for you to stay in the back office, right? And that is where the part you're putting on is very interesting, as in you have to think forward. What is important for you? Know what you want. And I think that's a very interesting part. I think that we can all understand that cut out the noise and focus on yourself first. And I think Min have given a very vivid example of how to adapt to change, right? Because for changing, it's constantly her job. In the way that she's choosing Vietnamese study and then she's moving to facing more technical. And then when her job is increasingly technical, she's starting to pick up skill along the way. And then I think the important thing that she's putting out is like choose the method that works for you, right? Not just go to university, technical course, but know yourself better. Like what kind of learning method is better for you, not anyone else, just you. And I think that is a very interesting book for all the panelists. This is very interesting. I think one of the points that I would like to ask Dennis as well, as in, we all have this like data skill, right? Let's say that we already learned to pick up the data related skill. We know how to read data better. We know how to use data in our work. Pick up SQL, pick up Python, all the important technical skill, right? But what next? How we can carry ourselves and communicate our capacity more effectively.
So to communicate more effectively, I think it's all about awareness and put our awareness into action. So it's all about what is our principles, our ethics, and ask ourselves the right questions, give ourselves time to reflect, to know more about ourselves, because we, in the data-driven, we are all surrounded by so much information and kind of data pollution sometimes. It's just when you're on your Facebook feed, there's information everywhere, and they're pushing you to actually buy stuff and to like stuff. But cut ourselves from that, I think, is an important thing, so that we find some alone time to ask ourselves the right questions and to raise our awareness and gain clarity on who we are and what we want in life. Define an action plan is important also, and follow up with that is super, super important. That is, the consistency sometimes is lacking in anything, in change, and I think it's super important to be consistent with that. And also how to communicate. I think it's all about adapting our message to the person in front of us, because each person has their own perception and their way of seeing the world. It is super important to adapt our words according to how the other person is perceiving this world. And I've discovered a few months back a methodology called process communication model, and I've been certified since then to train people in process communication model, which helps to learn how to adapt our message and to understand with the observation of the behavior of the other, what is the primary perception of the person in front of you. And I think this is crucial, on top of knowing the technical language and the vision, is also how to get out this vision and to transmit this vision to the other person
in a way where this person can understand clearly, and it's crystal clear for them what we want to achieve. That's
I think it's quite interesting because I think one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing at work is miscommunication, right? You say something, people interpret it a completely different way, and it's become a huge fight. I think I would love to give a bit of example, like specific example of how to communicate in other language. Like in a way that how you communicate and taking other people into perspective and communicate in accordance to the way they communicate.
So first you need to observe the behavior. There are some people who can zone out. When you ask them questions, they just like freeze, and you're like, hello. They're still here. They are actually still here, but they are reflecting. They are going into their inner world and they are processing your question. I think it's important to respect that time, and that it's their way of process your question. And according to PCM, there are 6 different perceptions, and this kind of behavior relates to the perception of inactions, meaning that the action is inside, so it's not outside. And observe this kind of, that there are 6 types of personality and 6 types of behavior that you can observe, and then from that you can adapt. Because there are words that are resonating in each type of personality. For example, that a person that is value-driven would understand, would value when you are expressing your opinion and asking them for their opinion and respect their values. And that is important to do that. Yeah, there can be miscommunication in companies. I've encountered so many companies where the technical department is not going well with the sales department because they all have different perception of the situation and on the customer experience. Some will be, oh, I want to build the best product that is the most technical and the most beautiful and more design. And at the same time, the sales department is like, no, we need to reduce the cost and make it as efficient and so that we can sell it more easily to the market. And to know how to, and each department has their own language, and having a common language by exchanging and talking to each other and creating that space where people are actually authentically exchange their opinion and their way of seeing the world is super important. That's how you debunk miscommunication, and that's how you create common grounds where collaboration can happen, where employee development can happen, and people are more confident to express themselves and thrive at work.
Thank you, Dennis. That's very interesting. So that we can see, right, one point that Dennis put out is about like putting up communication ground and learn to observe a bit more, right? Because I think I work in a tech company as well, and we have an engineering team where it was like, let's build things, let's build the most amazing product out there. And then you have a marketing team who's like, this is too complicated, man. If you just like dumb it down a little bit. And this always happen, the conversation always happen like that, right? And I think one thing you put out is like we get to understand the people, where you come from, and also understanding the agenda behind that as well. Like why they want to push this forward, what is the motivation behind, and how we can tailor communication in accordance to that agenda. Okay, thank you, Dennis. And I think one of the last question, I think we were out without it already, but I would love to like wrap it up with question for all panelists. What kind of advice that you would give to all the people out here who might face the similar challenge that you have?
Like I shared like my start in last like 11 years. You just do it. Believe in yourself, and you can get it.
I think it's an easy tone from your side. You can do it by yourself. That's why I don't think you have to do anything like high identity or capability, but you just would like to do it. That is very important. If you say that, okay, I can do it, but maybe, so you cannot do it. But then see that, okay, I do it, and that's it. You can finish it and get it very well. I think just do it. Okay, just small advice for those who love to become a data-driven person. So don't think data is something like too huge, too big, too hard to reach. It's not that fancy. So just start from the small thing, like study how to use gathering data. If you really love to do so, start with something familiar with your life, with your job, and then from there, you will know how to structure data and use this later.
And can I add some stuff?
Sure.
Okay. I think it is important to learn. Keep learning. Like you said, do it. You said learn, search on the internet. Just make a Google research on the new skills and know your market. Know what is the competitor doing. Explore. Keep exploring. Expand your comfort zone. There is so many things to learn. In the general knowledge, we know 10%. If we add all the knowledge in the world, which is just amazing, there is so much to learn, and don't hesitate to explore. Really, it's super important so that you can thrive in your career and be ahead of the competition.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
Today, so we haven't talked, so this is the topic, talk about the power of data. So all the panelists, they have shared about how they see the data have changed in their respective industry. And then all the panelists also sharing a bit about the challenges that they face. Like for them, is when you see how women in Vietnam are feeling more, less confident, more afraid to ask. And also depend as well on the prejudice experience, where people ask a lot of questions, like why you're not doing what I expect, or the society expects to do, and how she's moving out of it and detach herself of that. And then Win also a very personal example of how starting from a completely zero background experience in data and how she advanced to her current job right now. And I think the panelists have wrapped up very nicely the whole conversation when we're starting about with the just do it. Adidas slogan just, is it Adidas? Okay, sorry Adidas. Yeah, so just do it. And the next part is also do not be afraid of data, because when you talk about data, we talk about big term word, right? Artificial intelligence, data science, classic machine learning. What is all of that? So with myself, just do it. Maybe it's very scary, very intimidating at first. But just take step by step, right? Starting first with the jargon. What is it? What is it? What does it do? What is application? And when you understand it a bit, you start to move forward a bit to the technical part of it and start to grab bit by bit. And I think the last part is also understanding that we can keep learning, right? And just keep pushing your forward. One thing I learned in my 20s, I still in my 20s, but still, I'm sound-wise. So imagine the only thing that my identity is fixed. I didn't have this one identity, and anything that challenges that identity, like let's say being outspoken or being smart and intelligent, but if someone else told me something I don't know, I started to reject it. It was like, okay, this guy asked me some random question. I know the answer, I just don't have it right now. It's trying to rejecting it because it's protecting identity. But I think as the moment that we're accepting that identity is fluid, and the thing is we change all the time. As we said, she changed from a lot of different roles in the industry. And that you realize that actually learning is a part that we can actually embrace. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We have the last part for audience Q&A. And thank you so much. And yeah, the question starts. Anyone in our audience who would like to ask a question? Yes, for the gentleman.
So I would like to ask basically questions. So do you know the main difference between a business analyst and a data analyst?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, so this actually quite tough question, and actually depends on the job description of the company that you apply for. So sometimes data analyst is basically for some document is the skill you need maybe some query language. You know how to use the query language well. You know how to use the like data platform like Power BI, Tableau. That should be enough. But it really depends on the company because there are some other company that might require some Python skills, some SQL skills. And for business analyst, it's also the same in Vietnam because I read so many job descriptions in the market and so many people asking questions like, what's real business analyst? What's the difference between business analyst and business intelligence? And what's also like different between business intelligence and business analysis. So it really depends on the company. For those, for my current role at my company, a business analyst is the person who knows how to implement, like get requirement from the stakeholder and implement it to the technical guys. But if you gain more and more skills, that's when you actually negotiating the salary with the company. So if in the job description they just require like 3 lines, but you actually have more, and that's my important for you in the future, or maybe in the company in the future, that you can apply your skill into the job. That would be nice. But like myself, my technical skill is not that good. But I have a lot of knowledge in the industry. So knowledge in the industry plus some technical skills that where you can just be confident on your job.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Matthew, because we've been stretching the shift you made in your career from hospitality to being a data-driven person. But from my understanding, it goes even beyond that, because you could lever your expertise in the hospitality industry to cross it with the knowledge and data that you acquire. And my question is, in which extent did this crossing of skills boosted your career?
It's actually my laziness. So when I was working like based on, maybe some of you have been doing loading, like you loading into the system, something very basic. For me, I was doing some pricing loading or like images loading, and it's way too boring. And I'm way too lazy to do a boring job every day. So I'm like, okay, let's do something interesting. And that's where I acquired the computer language skills and data analysis skills that help to improve my performance at work. And because I only want to stick with the industry where I am, I wanted to be a specialist, not only in sales, in data analyst, but also gain the knowledge in my industry in relation with technology. So where can we actually improve the product in my industry? That's my concern. Therefore, I wanted to move from different roles to technical to the technical roles. Does that answer your question?
I would like to see more female audience, if you want to ask. Yes, the lovely lady at the back.
Hello, so I have a question for Ms. Tan.
So, being a female working with data, do you find that there are more challenges or difficulties for you compared to a male working with data or working in your area?
Thank you for the question. I don't want to compare with men or anyone because I think what I learned that's for myself first. That's why data is the one like I can get and I trust in that. Because when we are to do something, we have to make decision and how we can make decision. And maybe some number will give you more confidence that I share it. So that's why I think other my college, even different like female or male, they have the same mindset. And they try to utilize the data. And of course, I have to learn because I started my college, they did it well, and why I'm not. And that's why I have to learn to do, it's not do the same with them, but I try to do for myself, make my job better. And the result will be the one to solve to another one, like I do the right one based on what. That thing like I'm trying.
So we have space for one last question.
I have a question for Ms. Dennis. I want to ask you about your idea or what do you think about the word data manipulations? And do you think that you become a more data-driven person? You are becoming participating in the process of making this world more belonging to the data big company who use data to somehow manipulate your life and somehow, I don't know, maybe a bigger picture, create more gap to people who cannot have the tool to approach the data that they need to become more data-driven. What do you think about that?
That's a very tough question.
I'm sorry, just be honest with your idea.
I don't pretend to manipulate people with data. I think we are definitely manipulated by companies like Facebook and Instagram who are trying to yeah, we just talked about that before the talk, and it was, yeah, Nguyen told me that actually Facebook is manipulating us on fear. And I think this is super sad, and that's not the world that I want to live in. And I think that it starts with us and saying like, hey, like Facebook, no, I'm just, this is, we can't say no to Facebook, we can say no to Instagram, and that's how we are not manipulated. We need to know how our data is used, and that's how we are going to make the world better. Yeah, so I don't pretend to manipulate people. I think that manipulating is like trying to control something that we cannot control. We can influence, but manipulating is tricky, and I think it's. I don't think it has its place in a world, in a better world.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, and this is a wrap up of the event today. Again, thank you so much for coming. So a big thanks to all the panelists here, spending your time doing rehearsal with me, and also for Home Credit to actually offer the great venue and offer a lot of support for Shield Data. And we would love to see you in the next event. Please feel free to stick around. We're going to take a photo, and then we're going to go around a little bit for networking. Thank you, everyone. Guys, we only have one last photo, so please don't stay. We are going to
đằng sau lúc này tới. Mời bạn qua đứng đằng sau giúp mình nha. Đứng học này đằng sau. Okay, the gentlemen, please step to the back a little bit. So the girls will be at the front. Okay, great. Chị cao cao mặc áo đen đằng sau, chị cũng lên sân khấu luôn quý vị nha, đừng khăn ngang áo trắng. Đừng khăn ngang áo trắng. Bạn ơi, you sit down trong. Okay, so ready everyone? Smile. The bottom of one. Okay, everyone, look at this meet up. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, different pose. Like the heart. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming today. Hope to see you for the next one. Bye. So sorry if you want to have networking with the speakers or say some story, please stay a little bit more longer because the speaker will be here. Thank you.
How are you? Good to see you. That's very interesting. I didn't know you were
Ouais. Attends, je vais ramener ça là.